Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Chat filter, top messages. Let's change that to all messages. There we go. So now we can see everybody that joins in with the chat and says hello. Hi. You don't really want to see my ugly mug in this shot anyway, so I'm just sitting off camera. Let's get rid of the old bug zapper. We don't want that there either. So in front of you, you will notice we have the King Motor 29, which I believe could be a 30, judging by the com rod inside, or the crank. When I took it apart the other day to clean it, as you can see, it's a very nice, clean looking engine now. So it's been fully rebuilt. I've had the crankcase apart, split it here, where my little finger is. New crank seals, new crankcase gasket, new head gasket, got a brand new piston and ring in there. But when I took the flywheel off, it was missing something, which could explain why it was running rough in the first place. The Woodruff key was missing. Now, for those of you that don't know what a Woodruff key is, it's the little half moon piece that you get inside that secures your flywheel. One flywheel. Hey, so basically, to me, what it looks like is the flywheel had spun slightly, which will knock it out of time. If you look at the back of the flywheel there, peeps, now I haven't cleaned this, you can see it looks like that's rotated and spun. So it could have been a degree or two out, but I literally held the flywheel in my hand. So which way it would have been? That way. I had the engine over my lap. Let me move the camera a minute and you'll see. All right. So I held it, I had my lap like this. I had the flywheel. I didn't have a flywheel puller or two long enough bolts to screw through. So I put a bit of rubber on the crankshaft, give it a tap with a hammer. Engine dropped to my lap, nothing hit the floor. I was in my office, wooden floors, nothing hit the floor, only a little bit of dirt, nothing was in my lap. Stood up, checked all the little folds and creases in my trousers, nothing there. Woodruff key was just missing, completely missing. So I don't know if it's failed, whether it was missed, whether I genuinely don't know where that Woodruff key or flywheel key, as you may know it is. Good afternoon, everybody. We've got a lot of people locked in. Greg, how you doing? It's quite a few people streaming today. Nice, thank you. So yeah, Woodruff key is that little tiny piece there, and that literally just sits in a groove, you'll see in a minute, on the flywheel and on the crankcase, the crankshaft, and that stops the flywheel from rotating on the shaft. Because if you move that, the flywheel here on these two strokes, that's your magnets. So there's your magnets. Now those are your two pickup points for your spark. So obviously, as that rotates, that tells it when to spark, when it passes the coil. Now, if you move this on the shaft compared to where it's supposed to spark, you're going to change your timing. Now, that timing change could have caused the engine to run hot, which is why the piston might have failed in the first place. But this engine was doing something very weird. It would rev, but it just had no low idle whatsoever. Just no matter what we did, give it fuel, take fuel away, it just would not blur. It was just blurring all the way. So fingers crossed, after rebuilding it with new head gasket, new crankcase gasket, new crank seals, we've completely gone through this. New piston, new ring. I've gapped the coil, even though the flywheel's not fitted, but it's ready to be fitted. All I've got to do is put that Woodruff key on, put the flywheel in place to make sure it's in the right place there. Hello, how are you doing? Hassan, nice to meet you. Thank you for your ears. My Toyota Hilux spun the timing sprocket, pistons hit the valves, I put a new belt kit, and sprocket runs fine. Yeah, Hiluxes, mate, they're pretty indestructible, aren't they? But yeah, if you knock the timing out on a valved motor, that's even worse, because yeah, then you get piston slap, valve slap, all the rest of it. Luckily with these, you won't get any particularly, there's no way, because there's no valves, because it's all done through two-stroke on this. So as the piston comes up, it compresses in one, and as it's drawing, so as it's coming up, it's drawing into the bottom. Then as that explodes and pushes the piston down, it pushes the exhaust out that side and draws the fresh fuel in at the same time. That's how a two-stroke works. It's doing two things at the same time. So you don't have valves, so you won't ever get that with a two-stroke, luckily. But what you will do is get pre-detonation, early detonation or late detonation, where the spark is going for the wrong point. So if your spark is going off before top dead center, you're going to damage your engine, because it's trying to come up as it's being forced back down. So that's when you're going to do some serious damage. Right, let's show you guys here where the Woodruff key goes. So on the shaft there, the camera will focus, there we go. You got a little groove just here, you can see where my nail is. And that little Woodruff key, this little half moon piece of metal, let's try and, there we go, this little tiny half moon piece of metal just sits in that groove. That's all it does. Hopefully, if I've bought the right key, do you know what? I think these keys might be too big. Sadly, I think that key's going to be way too big. So I've got the wrong one, surely. I think that key's way too big. I could potentially mill it down a little bit, but that's a lot of work. I think that's going to be way too big for this, but we'll try and see what happens. Well, I thought I'd ordered the right ones, so we won't be starting this today. That's a bit of a bummer. I actually thought I got the right one, but there's no way that's going to fit. That's far too big. Well, I don't particularly want to make that any bigger. What a bugger. Yeah, it's far too deep. Don't think we'll ever get that in there. No, that's never going to go. Never in a million years, but I'm going to try it this way. No, it's too big. Too big. Oh well, bugger. Cheers, Chris. Thank you very much. Well, that's a pain. I actually thought I'd got the right one. I was going to say big up Amazon, but sadly not. Never did find the original Woodruff key, so I don't know where that went. I'll bet they're all identical, aren't they? They're not a mixture of sizes, are they? Nah, they're all going to be. Well, mind you, that one looks slightly smaller. I could be tripping. I bet they're all the same. Chinese, mind you, that is slightly smaller. Chinese unit. These are probably offcuts of something. They're probably not even fucking Woodruff keys. No. It's just too deep. Just a bit too deep. I love two strokes. I wrapped white tape around the shaft to make a flywheel fit. Yeah, I'm just worried about it slipping. That's the only thing. And adjusting the timing, especially in a two-stroke RC car, because well, the power and the torque from some of these cars, as Chris and that to tell you. Yes, I'm unreal. I'll see if I can find which one of these is going to be the slimmest. Maybe file it down a bit. I don't know. Is there any of these that are different, or are they all identical? Do you know what? Sadly, I think they are actually all identical. Yeah, they're pretty much the same all round. Bugger. When you think you've done something clever, and it turns out it's not. Oh well, cost me a £5 for 10 Woodruff keys I'm never ever going to use. Just thinking if I can... No, it's going to be... Wonder if I could try and shave it down with a Dremel. Do you reckon I could? Do you reckon we could? I'm going to give it a fucking go. What have I got to lose? Nothing. I need a Woodruff key. I need a Woodruff key, so what have I got to lose? Right. Hopefully nothing. Apparently nothing, apparently. Apparently nothing, apparently. Oh, what's going on with my grinder wheels? All stuck together. That's not good. Why are they stuck? Why are they stuck together? God, I've got an extra thick grinder. No, it's not going to help me cut though, is it? Right, let's find a nice cutting wheel. There we go, look at that, a single cutting disc. Right. No idea if this is going to work, but we're going to try it. What else can you do? Not a lot. In all honesty, what else can you do? Not a lot. We're going to try and cut a Woodruff key down, people. Should be interesting. Yeah. Should be very interesting. Place your bets now. Will it or won't it work? I ain't got a clue. Let's spin you around so you can see, but there we go. Hello. You can see my ugly mug now. I feel for you lot, I really do, sorry. But yeah, hi. So yeah, I'm just putting a cutting disc on the old Dremel. Don't want to over tighten it. No. That's never going to fit, is it? Oh, that may it will. Oh, it will. Haha. Right. Don't take a lot off, bro. It should work. Do you know what? I'm surprised how much these things are bigger. I bought 10 off Amazon, which said it was designed for a little engine. Let's turn the old inverter on in the van. Right, I swear I cut my fingers off, people. Live on camera. Don't do this at home. Alright, should be interesting. see how this is going to work. Harder than it looks. I don't even know if that's taking any off or if it's just sparking. Might be easier to grind a bit out of the shaft. So look here, need my goggles really. Well, we are going slowly. We are losing some of it slowly. I just need a stronger grip. I know I need a bench grinder. What can I do? There's lots of things I need, Chris. You've probably got one, haven't you? Knowing you. I'll still take a bit more off the other side of that. Get in there. Fuck me, where's that gone? I'm gonna have to start again, aren't I? Oh, for crying out loud, where did it go? It pinged off over here somewhere. I don't think I'm going to find that. Looking for a needle in a haystack, that is. Looking for a needle in a haystack. Oh, do you know what? I have fucking found it. Check me out. Right. I don't even know if I've taken anything off that, apart from just made a mess. Let's see. Possibly a little bit more. Yeah, quite a bit more. Quite a bit more. Needs to be a bit shorter. All right, back to it. Excuse me. I've got 10 more in case I make it too small. That's a bit warm. Ow. That's a bit warm. That's a little bit warm. And do you know what? I think that might be about right. Do you know what? We're not far off that. We're not far off that. I'm going to take a little bit more down off that side there. Which side? Which side are we going to that? A little more off that. And that'll fit. Alright, for those of you wondering what I'm doing, trying to rebuild an engine. Well, I have rebuilt it, but when I took it apart, the bit that was missing was the Woodruff key out the flywheel, which holds the flywheel in position, and they look like a little half moon piece like that. So I bought 10 of them off eBay for £5, and they're too big. So as you can see, hopefully if I put those like that, you can see now what I've done is I've shortened one down and rounded it off a little bit. So the camera won't focus. There you go. One's a little bit shorter and a bit smaller. So now that should fit. Let's pop the Woodruff key into the shaft. That's a lovely fit now. That, surely, that's got to be the one. That's got to be the fit. That's got to be what we need. Let line that up. That, are we in position? Somewhere around about there. No, it's still got to be a bit smaller, you know. Oh. Yeah, a little bit smaller still, I think. Fucking hell. This engine is for, well, it's actually a spare. It should be in a Baja or a Lossi or a, you know, Yamaha 2-stroke RC car. It's a 29cc. It's a King motor engine, but this one's been ported, and I've just freshened it up completely. I've stripped it down, stripped the crankcase apart, split the gaskets, put new crankcase gaskets, new crankcase seals, new head gasket, new piston, new ring. 29cc, is that big for an RC car? To be honest, it's pretty common nowadays. You can get 90s, 96s, Taylor Twins 75s. Most common one, I think, is probably around 32cc, 35cc. When they first came out, the original Bahas were 23, and then they built a 26 for the SS, the one you built yourself. And then people started buying 29s, and then they became a 30.5 with a stroker. And then, yeah, you got the Zenoa 32 and the Zenoa 34, and then Taylor 35s, OBR engines. 29 is a small engine, some of them up to 96, yeah, ALX 96s. If you look on my channel, there's a video of the last bash we had at Slough. And one of the guys there, Mo, he had his 96 out and he had a head-on with Brian. And yeah, that thing was really loud. But Damien's twin 70s in that. In fact, there was 3 other 70s and an ALX, what was it, a 60, I think, racing. So there was 4 of them. 2 twin 35s, so 70 cc's. And I think it was an ALX 80 or ALX 70 or something like that in the white and lossy looking thing. Yeah, they scream. They scream. When I GPS'd I've got a 30.5cc engine in mine. It's been built by O'Neill Brothers. I don't know what it revs to or anything like that, but that does 40 mile an hour off-road with my off-road car, and that's a 30.5, but that's been ported with a piston port and a modification. That's a better fit. Right. Try again. I can't believe that it was the wrong fucking size. Oh, yes. Surely once that bolt's on. That's going to be a nice fit. Fingers crossed for me, people. Let's try it and see what happens. Right. I'm going to whip the spark plug out. And put in a piston stopper. Just so that I can tighten the flywheel up. So a little piston stopper, it's basically like a spark plug, but it's longer. And it just goes into the top of the head there. And what that'll do is that'll enable me to turn that so far. And the key's just fallen out, so it wasn't in properly. This is going to be interesting then, isn't it? Let's see if we can get this to work. Flywheel key. Oh, dropped it. There it is. It goes on there like that. That's it. So now that won't turn, which means I can tighten up the flywheel if I can remember where I put my socket set, which is on the floor. Of course it is. Little 13mm nut on there. So obviously, Chris, I know where you are, but where's everybody else from in the world? Can't wait to get my new engine for the Max 5T, bro. It's gonna scream. What engine are you getting? I can't remember what you said. Right, so yeah, flywheel's now on, and you can see we're connected to the shaft, because as I turn that, the piston's now got to the piston stopper and locked. I can't turn it any further, so we can rotate backwards again now. And we should be able, there we go. So that's now the full stroke, or a half stroke, because it's a 2-stroke, 180 degrees. You'll see the flywheel turn 180 degrees, and we will lock up again about here. There we go, bam. Oh, the ALX, yeah. You are a lucky devil, mind. Here's me with all these second-hand rebuilds. Oh, money playing, brother. I'll get, I mean, I've got my OBR, I bought that brand new. A friend of mine's after a tailor, if you know anyone selling one. I say friend, he was a random that added me on Facebook. He was like, you know everybody, can you find me a tailor? And to be fair, like, I do know a lot of people. So, you know, if someone I know has got one that's for sale, they're probably a trusted person, which is a fair enough comment, really. Chances are I do know someone, and they're going to be a sensible person, you get me? Right, so I changed the coil out on the 30 when she died on me the other day. And yeah, she's running sweet as now. Don't know why that coil packed up though. Very peculiar. I did take a hard head-on hit, and I don't know if it demagnetized something or what, but it was a cheap Chinese coil. So, you know, anything's possible. Let's turn the power off. Turn the inverter off in a minute because it's humming away in the background there. I had a nitro one. Apparently it could hit 40 RP, 40k. Yeah, nitros are tiny, and because there's no weight to them, it's all about the mass and all the rest of it as well, isn't it? If you're throwing an object up and down really, really fast on what do you call it, on a conrod and that, you create energy and mass. So obviously nitro engines are a lot smaller, and they work similar to a 2-stroke, but they work on pinch. Whereas with a 2-stroke, you've obviously actually got a combustion chamber and a space at the top, and you've got piston rings. So your piston rings seal your chambers and obviously give you your combustion pressure. Whereas with nitro, they actually generate pinch. So there is no ring on the piston. In fact, it's on my house keys, which is in the front. I've got a little nitro piston on there. So what happens is when they go up, they get into the top of the sleeve and they pinch. So they literally grab the sleeve, and that's what creates heat and friction, which helps heat up nitro, which causes the explosion, which makes it go back down. There's no ring on them. And that's why it is sometimes very, very difficult to start nitro engines until you get heat in them. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Much appreciated, guys. How are we doing? Big birthdays. Yes, thank you. 45 today. 45. Next stop would be 50. Slow down. Right, so we should be at the point where we can attempt to start this, because the only thing that was stopping me was the flywheel. So we shall tighten up everything. The only other thing that's a bit dubious on this, I'll be honest with you. That's not a genuine Walbra carb. There's no markings on it. Genuine Walbras have Walbras written on them. Supposed to be a chokeless 990. Again, Chinesium. So it might not work. We shall see. I hit 50 this year. Good on you, mate. Good on you. Got a lot more compression compared to what we had before. Last time I could literally, well, I could do that and it would go pop, 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 pop. Whereas now I've actually got to give it some. So that's a good sign. And yes, there was a little bit of oil around the ring on the piston in the chamber before I put it all together. I think what we should do now is I've got a little fuel tank and a can of 2-stroke outside there. And we're going to pour a bit of 2-stroke in there and see if this will run. Are we having bets on this, people? Anybody? Yes, no? Will it start? Will it run? Sompong Champagne. Hello. I'm guessing you're not from the UK. Don't know what made me say that, but there we go. Right, yeah, let's take you out here, guys. Lovely sunny day, right. So we've got a can of fuel, we've got an engine, and we've got a little fuel tank. So, can you all see there? Yes, you can, lovely. So we'll stick a bit of mixed 2-stroke 25-to-1 in there. Pop that out of the way. Right, and then we will connect up the fuel lines. So the clear one is the return. The bottom one is the intake. There we go. Just give it a prime. Well, promisingly, it's primed. There we go. So we've got fuel in there. You ready to see what happens, peeps? Will it, won't it? Let's go. Let's go. At the moment, the answer is no, isn't it? Right, let's keep trying. She's probably very, very dry. Give her a little prime. Oh. Here we go. Just trying to do something. Idle speed might be a little bit low, but that's not a problem. That's something we can fix. Let's try turning the idle speed up a touch. Just in case that's not. Oh. Okay. Lean out the low a little bit. Oh, exhaust camera's rattling. There we go. Excellent. Well, there we go. That concludes it. What comments have we got there? Sounds good now. Yes. Let's see. Can't read your comments in the sunlight, people. The car from Tit Racing. Can't remember. It was an eBay special, I think. Looks like my Saturday mornings. Excellent. Well, this is what we like. GG. Sounds good now. Yes, it was definitely running very nicely there towards the end. I did wonder what was rattling just then before I shut it down. It was the bolts on the exhaust. That's why I suddenly shut it down very quickly. I thought, uh-oh, that doesn't sound too good. Hopefully she'll fire straight back up again. Right, well that's a rip-roaring success as far as I'm concerned. We shall take the intake pipe off. And we shall empty the primer bulb. And now we can disconnect that one. There we go. All right, so people, this is going up for sale. It is a King motor, fully rebuilt. So new crank seals, new crankcase gasket, new head gasket, clone 990 carb, as you see, just been tuned. We've got a new ring and piston in there. King motor, ported. I've got some photos to prove the port work. The only thing you need is a clutch housing, clutch, and you're ready to go. So if you're interested, 100 quid, 100 UK pound. Gets you a nicely freshened up, serviced 29cc King motor block, King motor head with port work and a 9 carbon velocity stack. Anybody interested? Let me know. Email address is Matthew, MATTHEW, full stop, and then Hurst, HURST, at yahoo.co.uk. Doesn't sound bad at all, bro. No, it doesn't, Chris. It's sounding very sweet. Very, very nice. For a little 29, that is definitely a lot happier than it was when it was in Chris's little Marder. Because, well, the funny thing about this is, let's jump back in here out of the sun so you can all see me, and I'll tidy up a little bit. Back to the office, people. So yeah, let's turn the inverter off as well. Otherwise I'll end up with a dead battery later. We don't need a flat battery, do we? We're still at 12.4 volts, as you can see there. Or to you lot, it probably says 4.51. I don't know. So yes. Good morning from Michigan, USA. Save us, please. Save you from what? What do you need saving from? Let me know. What is it you need saving from in Michigan? I've not seen any of the. Please forgive me if that's really insulting, because I've not seen any of the news recently here in the UK. Trump. Oh well, yeah. Do we need to save Trump? He's never been a politician, has he? I mean, come on, look, this is the golden rule, right? You don't talk about politics or women or religion, especially on live streams. But Trump ain't a politician. He's a businessman. And that's the difference between Trump and the rest of the world. Because here in the UK, we get lying rat-ass politicians. I'm probably going to get kicked off YouTube for being open and honest here. Who are all corrupt, who all spend their money, or our money, sorry, our taxes, on things that the British people don't want. The British people are fed up with the government spending thousands of pounds on illegal immigrants when we've got Brits on the streets living in cardboard boxes. Our ex-servicemen got nowhere to live, living on the street with PTSD. Councils don't help them. But if you turn up on a boat and claim asylum, you get a house, you get a mobile phone, you get £1 a week or whatever the fuck it is they get. Right? Now, Trump's a businessman and he agrees that the UK is doing it wrong. So for that, I've got to respect him. He's a businessman. He looks at the figures and he sees what the UK does with its money and he thinks it's appalling. He thinks Sadiq Khan is a waste of time. And I agree. London born and bred, mate, me. Yeah. London born and bred. Now I'm 40 years in London. Moved down here in 2019. No. When did 2020? Beginning of 20, so 5 years ago. 40 years London born and bred, 45 today. So yes. Right, let's have a little tidy up. Anybody want any Woodruff keys for garden machinery? Let me know. I've got plenty. I've got 9 of them here. So yeah, if you need a Woodruff key, I've got 9 of these little things. If you want to use it on your CY, you will have to machine it down a little bit like I did. But it works. Happy days, it worked. And it works very, very well. Stock settings got it running. But then it needed a good old tune. Need to richen it up a lot more from what stock said it was. Low speed's about right. High speed, I'm sure, is probably about a whole turn out from stock. Or from what they say is factory settings. How good or accurate that is, I really don't. What's going on with these ones then? Is that a grinding wheel? That must be a grinding wheel. Not. Yeah, it is. It's one wheel. What a prat. What a prat. Spent all that time using a little cutting end disc, trying to flip it, shape that keyway. Oh, and I split my disc now as well. Oh, good job I've got loads of them, innit? Really. I'll have to pop that back in there so I don't lose it. But, yeah, as I was saying to you like a minute ago, before I got sidetracked and tidying up and putting my tools away and talking about Trump. Talk to you later, bro. I'm going to get some food from the chippy. Enjoy your chippy food. That's a piston, for those of you wondering. That's not the one I took out of this. I'll go and get the one I took out of this in a minute. That was a bit manky, shall we say. But yeah, this was in my... I bought a Baja 2 years ago. I bought a Baja 5T or a King Motor 5T, T1000 or whatever the hell the thing's called. And that motor was in it. And when I had it, it didn't run very well. It never... Well, it did and it didn't. It always bogged on initial acceleration and there was nothing I could do with it. I could never get a decent tune to hold on it. I bought a new carburetor and it worked really, really well for a little while. I bought a standard 668 or 997 to those of you that are in the game. And that worked pretty well for a while. And then I had a problem with it one day. It wouldn't start on me. And then I got it running and it ran absolutely sweet. And then it wouldn't start and then it ran sweet. And I was like, do you know what? I've had enough of this. And the carb was constantly choking up. I changed a couple of different carbs on it. And then I contacted my mate Paul at OBR. And I said, Paul, I want a 30.5 full mod piston ported long block. And that's what I got. And I got a WT 1257 carb as well with it originally, which had the black primer bulb. And it had Teflon gaskets, and it had a metal screening as opposed to the diaphragm. And that engine and thing worked brilliantly for a little while. And then the screen in the bottom of the carburetor, so in the bottom of the carby there's a little screen. It got choked up with the fuel clunk hairs. Yeah, I thought I had one in here. No, it's all in the other toolbox. Pretty lame in this box, really, to be fair. Oh, there's a gudgeon pin. Is there any in here? There's a lossy shot button. I didn't even know I had that. Fucking what's his name was after? Susil was after one of them the other day. Yeah, what was I saying? I don't know. I've completely lost train of thought. Anyway, so I got my long block, I put that in, and then a couple of weeks later it wouldn't start. And I was like, oh, I can't believe this. I'm having the same problems again that I had with this one. And it turns out, yeah, it was the clunk, and the little hairs on the clunk were being sucked up and into the fuel tank, into the carburetor, because it was drawing so much fuel at such pressure. It was actually sucking the hairs in off the filter in the tank. So I changed that out for one of the porcelain ones now, so it can't suck up no hairs, and it won't clog the filter up. But ever since then, I've had this motor kicking around doing nothing, because it worked. It was fine. It came out of a running car. And I gave it to my mate Chris in exchange for another engine. In fact, it's the engine he's now got back. Right, so yeah, he had a Carson Attack with a 29cc engine in it, and he couldn't get it to run. In fact, that's what that piston was from. So this piston was in it. He got the car, he bought it off a bloke. The bloke apparently had bought a head kit for it, put the head kit on, and never ever got it started. All right, so I went round and had a look. I've got a funny feeling he either used the old ring, because this ring here just hasn't got any like strength to it at all. So I ended up just ordering a piston and ring kit, whereas I actually reckon you could probably put just a ring on this and it'd be all right, because that to me looks like a brand new piston that's never been run, never seen anger or fire. I've got a gudgeon pin and bearing in there with the Jesus clips, as I call them. When they fly out, you say, Jesus, where did that go? I did that this morning. I was putting that in the office this morning. And yeah, I was putting that clip in this side here, and the one that's slightly bent. And just as I was pinging it in, it went, poof, and I heard it hit the deck in the corner. And I was like, oh, I know where that is. I spent about 20 minutes looking for it. Found it. So I put the gudgeon pin in and the needle bearing and the clips in just to keep it all together. But that to me looks like a perfectly good 36mm piston for a 29 or 30.5cc engine. Doesn't look like it's been run in anger at all. There's no damage to it. There's no marks on it, no burning, no nothing. The geezer just never ever got it to start. And I'm wondering whether he never changed the ring, and that's the old ring. So, but anyway, I bought a piston like this one, and a ring, and a gasket, and discovered that when I bolted everything down together, the new piston was hitting the top of the head. Ever so slightly. Just hitting the head. So, in the kit and bits and pieces I got off Chris was a copper gasket. So I put the copper gasket in, and the clearance was perfect. Now, I'm reckoning what the guy done was he had a 29 and he bought a 30.5 kit. So he put the 30.5 crank in, which has got the +1 or whatever, and then the gasket obviously gives you the space on the clearance. So 1mm copper gasket. Boom. But I reckon he used the old ring, because that ring to me looks like it's been heated in places. I don't know. But either way, it's spare, it's surplus to requirement. So I bought a new ring, put it in Chris's one, got that started and running. And in the meantime, Chris had this one in his Carson, and he said it worked beautifully, it ran, this, that and the other, blah, blah, blah. And then we went out to Slough, and bless him, it wouldn't start, just would not. So we got it started, but then as soon as you give it any throttle, once you got past that, it'd rev up sweet as a nut. We tried loads of things, tried a new carb. I gave him this carb, because it was spare in a box at the moment, at the time. 990 carb was spare. So I gave him that. It was brand new, unopened in a packet. We put that carb on it. Still wouldn't run. How weird. So I said to him, I'll tell you what, I rebuilt that 29 that was in this. You can have that back and I'll take this one back. And I'll rebuild this one. So that's what I did. Good kind man like me. Gave him the rebuilt 29 that I took off him in exchange for a running engine. So I gave him that back and brought back this one, which wasn't working. And as you can see now, it's been fully serviced, fully cleaned. And as you heard in this video, it's running very, very nicely. So good tune on the carb there. Good idle. Only thing it needs is a clutch housing and a clutch. And that's good to go. So anyway, there's only a few of you left on the live stream at the moment. So aliens are coming. Aliens are coming. Uber RC, proper air filters, as you can see, 2-stage, brilliant things, and they go nicely on the velocity stacks. Like so. So there we have it, fully working, running, revving beautifully, 29cc King Motor ported long block. 100 quid, anybody wants it, emails in the video. I might put the email in the tags when I redo it. So with that being said, thank you for all the birthday wishes, people, on my birthday live. Much appreciated. There's not really much else to say, I do. So I think, unless anybody's got anything to say, anybody's got any questions they want to ask me about two-strokes or RC, or engine rebuilds or porting, modifying, then please do drop a comment. We can have a little knit and natter, and we can answer them back each other. If not, then I'll probably hit the end of the live. So yes, anybody got any questions, comments about two-strokes, rebuilding, servicing, how to check why your car won't start, questions about clutches? These are obviously mainly in the 5th scale stuff. You do get 6th scale, which is like the FG Mardas, FG Marder, FG Monster Beetle, FG Monster Truck. Then you go to the 5th scale, which is Bajas. I think Yama's a 6th. DBXLs, Lossy 5T, Roven 30 degree Norths, HPI Maverick Blackouts, MCDs, Elcon. I've been into RC for decades, absolute decades. Right, well, there's 2 of you left now, so thank you very much. I'm going to end the live stream. There's obviously nobody's got any questions or wants to know anything about two-strokes, so we might as well end the live there. But thank you for joining, people. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. Like I said, if you want a running, working, serviced, freshly rebuilt engine for your two-stroke, you can hit me up on the email, which is Matthew, MATTHEW, full stop, and then Hurst, HURST, at yahoo.co.uk. I'm in the southwest of England, in the lovely county of Dorset. So if you're around that area and you're interested, you will have seen this engine running on this video. You will have seen me tuning it and heard it purring away beautifully. As you can see clearly, it is freshly rebuilt. It's all very clean. No oil leaks, no nothing. So look at that gasket there, look, see? All been cleaned up and polished before the gasket was put in. There's not a single bit of seepage on that after running it and revving it. So yeah, 100 quid. Right, people, catch you later. Thank you very much for watching and for all the birthday wishes. Take care. Bye, bye.